Hi friends, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Here's what we're discussing today. Snitches get stitches. You've all heard that line. In this editorial, this pasty white guy who wouldn't know what thug culture was if it bit him on his ankle says snitches are a good thing, likely because they put all those scary thugs in jail. But I can't agree. Snitches are criminals. They provide police and prosecutors with information about criminal activity, usually for a reward. Now, sometimes that reward comes in cash, and sometimes when they themselves have been jammed up in something criminal, it's for some level of leniency within the criminal justice system. It works like this. Tim is a purse snatcher, shoplifter who is always at the periphery of some crime or another, and he knows the major players in the neighborhood. So when the police arrest him with that bag full of perfume from Ulta, he agrees to testify about what Julian, the local drug dealer, is rumored to have done to a competitor. Now, does he actually know what Julian did to the competitor? Probably not. But like the guy who tries to guess your age or weight at the county fair, he uses clues given to him by the cops to plant useful information in the story and give it some weight. Now, good cops, ethical cops, won't play this game. They tell the snitch, okay, what do you know? Well, and if the snitch says, well, what do you want to know? Then the cops generally have a pretty good idea that this guy is shooting the angles. You know, he doesn't really know anything. He's pumping the cops for information so he can feed their prejudices. That's never a good situation for any cop to be in, and frankly, it should be offensive to the notion of justice that you'd even entertain that. As a result, most cops don't ask specifically about evidence. They just ask you to tell the story if you're going to be a snitch. But just as there are bottom feeders in the criminal world, there are bottom feeders in the police world too. So an interrogation that might occur outside the confines of an interview room, where there's none of those pesky cameras and microphones, might go something like this. So Tim, I'm looking into the murder of Cletus, and we think Julian was involved, and I'm just wondering if you saw him get stabbed or not. Yeah, I seen him, man. Boom! Just like that. Stabbed that son of a gun. Did you see every one of those blows? Every time he got stabbed, did you see him? Yeah, man, I saw every one of them, you know. Boom, boom, boom. I lost count. I don't remember how many there were, but I saw a bunch of them, yeah. Did you happen to see how big the knife was that he stabbed him with? Well, it's a pretty big knife. Now, the coroner said that the wound channel was about 8 inches deep. I'm wondering if you think that sort of matches up with what you saw in terms of the knife. You know, if you saw it. Yeah, 8 inches sounds about right. I mean, it's what I saw. So the cops shows the snitch the crime scene photographs, and then, oddly enough, gets a phone call, has to step away from his file. The snitch pages through the file, taking note of the clothes the victim was wearing, the shoes, where the wounds were, and other important information he'll need later when he makes up the rest of the story. And then a cop comes back and says, hey, why don't you come down to the station house and give us a recorded statement? And there, the snitch performs beautifully without ever seeing who it was that killed poor Cletus, the guy that was up against Julian. And today, we have a real-life example of how this played out in the YSL trial in Atlanta. She's trying to get this witness to endorse his prior statements to the police to the jury. But pay attention to how Woody describes what he's doing here. This is the most honest set of testimony I've ever seen from a snitch. And I don't know whether he's trying to preserve his life by essentially admitting that, yeah, he talked to the cops, but he didn't know anything, so that he doesn't wind up offending other people who are gang members or alleged gang members, or whether the guy really is just tired of being used as a patsy by the cops. It's hard to tell. But listen to this incredible testimony.
Mr. Copeland, do you know a person by the name of Shell Cow?
I don't recall.
Do you recall speaking with law enforcement about an individual that you know by the name of Shell Cow?
I don't recall.
I want to go back to December of 2014 and into January of 2015. Were you present at a gambling house in Lakewood when a shooting occurred?
I don't recall.
Let me ask you. Also, back in 2015, do you remember being at a Cascade skating ring speaking with an individual by the name of Shell Cow?
I don't recall.
Gosh, it's almost like there's a pattern developing
Go
here.
to the Atlanta Police Department at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you speak with a detective by the name of Detective Thorpe?
I don't recall who I speak with. I don't recall.
And during that interview, did you go down there to speak with him about the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr.?
I don't recall who I spoke with.
Okay. And in that same interview, did you speak with him about not just the murder of Donovan Thomas, but events that led up to the murder of Donovan Thomas on June 10th, 2015?
I'm a liar. So you want me to remember something that I done lied about in the past? Like I don't know.
So my question for you is, did you go to the Atlanta Police Department? Is your response you don't recall?
I don't recall.
And during that interview with Detective Thorpe at the Atlanta Police Department, did you provide him your name and your date of birth?
Huh?
When you went to the Atlanta Police Department and met with Detective Thorpe, did you give him your date of birth?
I don't know.
Okay. And is your date of birth July 25th, 1991?
What?
Is your date of birth July 25th, 1991?
I think.
Okay. And during this interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you also have a middle name of Xavier?
I don't know what I told. I don't remember what I told him. Okay. I'm not trying to say the wrong thing so y'all can lock me back up.
All right. Well, just bear with me. We're going to go through that interview, okay?
Objection to the commentary.
Now,
Disregard the commentary by the witness.
Now, during the interview, did you speak with Detective Thorpe about the issues you had with a person by the name of Kel?
I don't recall.
And did you speak with Detective Thorpe about a problem that the two of you all had in the club?
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Thorpe in that same interview that Kel was Nut's little brother?
I don't know if they brothers or not.
Okay. So do you know who Kel is?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. And when I say Nut, is that Donovan Thomas Jr.?
You asked me that?
I am asking you that.
Say that again?
Sure. Do you know a person that goes by the name of Nut?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, in that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe about you and Kel getting into the fight at Club Crucial?
I don't recall. Nothing from 2015, 14, 16, none of that.
Okay. And during that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you and Kel had been in a beef for maybe about no longer than 4 months, and this is back in 2015?
And he's still alive?
My question, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you, Michelle Kell, at that time in 2015, had a beef and it was probably going on around 4 months at that time?
I tell the detective whatever they want me to say, whatever they want to hear, whatever. So if I said it to him, I said it to him. I don't recall what I said to no police.
Okay. And during that same interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that whenever y'all were in the club, y'all would initially just throw up birds at each other?
Huh?
In this January 11, 2000 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that initially, when you and Shokel were in the club, y'all never really fist fought, y'all just would throw up birds at each other?
Like I told you before y'all called me to trial, I have lied. I made things up. I told you this before y'all brought me in this courtroom. And I'm telling you now, you asked me about 2015. I have got my life together. Y'all trying to put this on my conscience. Y'all trying to put people's life in my hands. I don't lied on people. I don't want to be here. Y'all have pressured me. I'm tired of y'all because y'all know y'all are wrong. And y'all black people doing this to us.
And I understand that.
Leave me alone. Let me leave. Man, y'all pissing me off. Listen, I don't recall nothing I said to no police. Stop asking me these questions.
Okay.
I'm telling you I don't recall.
I understand, but we're going to have to get through the questions. You can just continue to say you don't recall if that's what it is.
That's what you want me to say?
So you've got a witness here who's saying, look, I lied in the past. I told the cops whatever they wanted to hear. You know, is that what you want to hear? Because if that's what you want to hear, you know, whatever it is, I just want to not be here. I don't want to be testifying. And of course, they gave him immunity, so there really isn't much they can do to him if he doesn't recall anything. I guess the question that I have is more of a prudential one. I don't understand what the prosecutors are trying to accomplish through this testimony. It doesn't make any sense. The guy doesn't recall anything. Yeah, you're telling him what he told the police, but that doesn't mean what he told the police was truthful. It just means that's what he told the police to avoid getting jammed up with the cops. And it's the same snitches dilemma that you see all the time. They want something. They want a get out of jail free card. They want money. They want drugs. They want whatever it is they want from the cops. They want this stuff. And so they're willing to say whatever they need to say at the time on the street or in the interview room to get what the heck they want. They get what the heck they want, and then they want to be out of the picture. But of course, they got to come to trial and testify if the other side doesn't plead guilty. And in this case, they're not pleading guilty. So they got to come to trial. And now, this guy doesn't remember any of the lies he told. You can look at him. You can watch his body language and see that he probably does remember saying a lot of this stuff. But there's no way he's going to testify to it. Because snitches get stitches. And sometimes they get coffins. And he doesn't want to have either of those two things be in his immediate future or even later in his future. He doesn't want that. And so he becomes the very perfect Sergeant Schultz in this endeavor here. I know nothing. And as a result of that, it's really kind of sad that you put him in this position, but cops and prosecutors do this all the time. They find the weakest link, they put pressure on him. As he said, you guys are pressuring me. And of course, the reason that they're pressuring him is because they want to get a conviction. But they want to get a conviction based on testimony that may or may not be truthful. Later in the testimony, she says, do you recall that the police verified these comments or verified your testimony? And he's like, I don't know. How would he know that? How would he know what the police did? That should have been objected to by the defense. I don't recall if it was, but it certainly should have been. And, of course, the defense didn't do much objecting here because this guy was helping him. He was saying, I love the part there at the end about you guys are black people and you're doing this to us black people. You know, there is sort of a tribal mentality in a gang that it's us against them. And so now he's sort of joining ranks with the us against the them. I would really love to see a study done to find out just exactly how much gets verified when cops engage with people like this young man to produce testimony for a trial. Because I can't believe that a whole lot of it is ever really verified. So Judge Paul Kelly of the U.S. 10th Circuit Court of Appeals wrote one of the seminal cases on jailhouse snitches. It's called U.S. versus Singleton. In that, he said, the judicial process is tainted and justice cheapened when factual testimony is purchased, whether with leniency or money. Because prosecutors bear a weighty responsibility to do justice and observe the law in the course of a prosecution, it is particularly appropriate to apply the strictures of Section 201c2 to their activities. Now, in that case, Section 201c2 was a criminal statute that provided that it was a crime to pay witnesses to testify. He goes on and says the United States Attorney is the representative not only of an ordinary party to a controversy, meaning the United States, but of a sovereignty whose obligation to govern impartially is just as compelling as its obligation to govern at all, and whose interest, therefore, in a criminal prosecution is not that it shall win a case, but that justice shall be done. As such, he is in a peculiar and very definite sense of the word a servant of the law, the twofold aim of which is that guilt shall not escape, nor innocence suffer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what's wrong with people using snitches in these cases. Prosecutors don't really have a way to verify very much of what they say. And although the prosecutor here seems to suggest that the cops verified these comments, it goes back to how he knew to make those comments in the first place that really is called into question. But at any rate, I thought that was such an interesting piece of testimony, and it sort of shows all of the problems that come with the whole snitching thing. So I hope that you found something interesting in this. Well, we have reached the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love for you to give me a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already subscribed, well, I'd love for you to do that too. Sometimes when folks leave comments, they want them to be to me personally and not be seen by other folks. You can email me at the address above. It's right up there, aldewit7@gmail.com. So if you don't want to share something publicly, you can drop me a note there. One thing that I ask at the end of all these videos is that you make somebody else's day better today by doing a kindness. Doesn't have to be a big thing, just make somebody smile. I'll be back here at the beach tomorrow with another video. Until then, stay safe, stay legal, stay informed. If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.